Hey everybody, it's the Broken Brains Monday mental tip for your mental health. That was weird. This is Dwight, your host as always. As we have a week or so left in September, let me plug our charity of focus, which is Horses of Hope, Puerto Rico, horsesofhopepr.org. They do equine therapy and access to horse-related interventions, which are really, really, really good, by the way, for people with disabilities and those dealing with trauma. Check them out, horsesofhopepr.org, to learn more about them. Now, on to the tip. Journaling is a big part of therapy. We often have people write stuff down. So this is something that people don't always love, which is journaling, writing down your feelings, things like that. I wanted to mention a couple of different variations off of this. First of all, journaling has been shown to be very, very effective in helping people to sort out, externalize, unpack their feelings. But people don't do it sometimes. And the reason for that is because the expectation, I think. The classical expectation of journaling is that you sit down and you write a lot about how you feel and you process past events and you do all this. You do it each day, that you are getting those feelings out, that maybe you bring it into therapy and talk about it, or maybe it's you just mention, or it's for your reflection. But the expectation, much like meditation, the expectation sometimes overwhelms people to the point where they just don't do it. So let's take, if that's an ideal, and I don't know that it is for everyone because everyone's different, but let's say if that's the ideal, is I'm journaling a whole bunch every single day, great. And if you can do that, you're going to probably benefit from it if you find that that's something that you do. If you follow through with it, that's a good sign that it's right for you. If you don't follow through with it, then that's where we want to change the goal up a little bit. There's no rule and no magical rule that says that if you write it in a great narrative, it's going to be better. Journaling for the reason of giving your posterity your life story, or having a memoir thing, or something you can look back on and remember circumstances, all of that. Just like with many other things, if we're doing this for psychological health, you don't have to do that. That is a separate goal. It's a great goal. It's wonderful. I have a great grandfather's journal that is very interesting. That gives a little slice of his life, obviously, and some parts of history from someone who's there. It's wonderful, okay? But different goal. Similar to if you're going to be into meditation, or if you're going to use exercise as something to help your mental health, you don't have to do it the way everyone else does it, and you don't have to do intensive kinds of things. For exercise, you don't have to do intensive workouts to get psychological benefit. If you're looking to improve your speed, your strength, your muscle tone, whatever it is that you're looking to do, that's great. Good for you, but those are separate goals, right? So back to journaling. Scale it into something else. Turn it into a few words every day, if you can do that, or a sentence or a paragraph, whatever it is. And the good way to know what's right for you is when you set this goal and you start doing it. That's the key. That's one of the ways we can tell that our goal is the right size, at least to start. And if you're telling yourself, I really want to get to this other ideal, and if you're not following through, you're not benefiting from it. You're just wishing you were doing it and probably contributing to feelings of shame and self-disappointment and all that jazz. So shrink that goal to something else, or make that your goal. It's not always shrinking if that's your objective. The objective is to process emotions. So, just write a few words. And if you don't get to it every day, do it as often as you do it. Anything is better than nothing when it comes to a healthy behavior. This is very, very important. Now, if you're not someone who is a writer and you don't, feel that way, if you don't write it by hand, type it into a notes app, if you will. If writing's not your thing, pull up your voice memo on your phone. Probably you have one, or you probably in some device that you already use, you have voice recording capabilities. Say a few words into it. There you go. The idea mainly is that you're getting things out. You can look it over. You can read it. You can rip it up and burn it and say, I'm sending these feelings into the heavens, or whatever. Once again, you can do that if that works for you. But if that kind of a ritual does not work for you, just make sure that you're, taking at least a few minutes to process through feelings. I've known people, by the way, who will write down a couple feeling words on their mirror with a dry erase marker, and then go ahead and erase it after that if you want to, or obviously you probably want to erase it at some point, or else your mirror is not going to fulfill its purpose eventually. Or, again, with the mirror, some people just look in a mirror and talk out loud for a few minutes or even seconds to themselves. You can sit down. I did a whole history thing the other week about empty chair technique. Here's a version of that. Sit down. Imagine you're talking, or just talk to yourself and say a few words out loud somewhere. Even if you do it in your head. The issue with, the more we get into just kind of doing it in your head without doing any external work, the problem is that does reduce, for most people, that does reduce some of the benefit, because basically you're flirting with the not doing it. If you're just saying, now you may find that you're a person with a rich internal life, and that as you do think about it, it's super meaningful to you. And so there you go. That's for you to decide. This is also key, is taking some responsibility for your own medical life, your own psychological health, by seeing what's right for you. If you have a really trusted partner or someone that you can talk to, whether that person is a person you're with, whether that person is a person that you envision, or like there may be someone who has died, basically, or anything like that. Or, occasionally it could be in the form of a prayer, if it, either religiously or meditatively, because sometimes it helps people to envision talking to someone else outside themselves. Okay. I have known people who will use either voicemail or a text message or email with their therapist and say, can I just process my feelings through here? You can read it. You can not read it. It just helps me to do that. You want to check that out with your therapist first, by the way, because if they're getting peppered with emails all over and they think you expect to, make sure that their boundaries are okay with this too. Particularly if you expect them to do something with it. You want to pre-plan that. If you're involving another person in general, that's always a good rule. So, that's our quick tip for this week, basically, is do not let the overwhelming expectation overwhelm you to the point where you do not follow through with your therapy. If there's something that is beneficial, the other thing is if you try this and it just is simply a burden and journaling is not working for you at all, talk to your therapist. Maybe you can brainstorm further than these suggestions. Look up things online to see what people do. I'll say, too, I've known people who their version of journaling is art creation. It's like, I'm in a certain emotional mood, I'm going to sit down and sketch, or I'm going to pull out my phone and take some meaningful photograph or something. Look around for an opportunity to express yourself in that way. Write poetry or even fiction. If you're doing anything creative, that is another good way to do it. But if you're not able to do this at all, and it's something that keeps coming up in therapy, don't just feel bad you didn't do it. Talk about it and say, I don't know if this is working for me. Maybe we can just say, bag it. I've known a lot of clients over the years who have asked, and we work on assignments, so to speak, something to read, something to write that they take home and do. I've also known a lot who do not like that. We do exercises in session. And by the way, a lot of modern techniques, the people's trauma and processing trauma in session, doesn't have homework assignments. It has see how you feel assignments, or just, monitoring those emotions and those behaviors. So hopefully this is something you can use in your own treatment, your own life, to lighten a burden and to engage with something that can be very mentally healthy. So thanks a lot, everybody. Oh, by the way, coming up, in addition to our regular interview episodes and that you're going to hear, you hear one tomorrow. Those come out on the Tuesdays. Also doing a couple more things for, this is the month of the anniversary of the creation of the character Batman. As you know, I'm a big fan. And you can look at the social media. You can go to dwighthurst.com/podcast for some links to that. But you can go to TikTok or Instagram. It's at Brainiacs Ahoy. You can also find the Broken Brain group page on Facebook, or you can go at Break a Brain on Twitter. I don't do as much on there these days, it seems like. And you can see some of the videos I've been doing diagnosing Batman villains. This week I'm recording a couple of fun little things where we're going to look into that and talk about a Batman story with Daryl Mansell. And then drlondonsmith.com is going to join me for one of our for a case staffing in the Arkham Asylum internship series. And so those are just some things for fun, but they're also meant to teach some things about the way we diagnose and some things about treatment and how that should work. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.